Hi there. So this is day 2 in the kind of deep dive into back pain, as it were. And today I want to look at bolstering and how bolstering can help you keep aligned and also be used to do some release of any tension that you've got in your back. So the first thing, we spoke about the alignment, your optimal alignment of your pelvis. And so often, the chairs we sit in encourage us to really slouch and tuck our pelvis under, which brings your pubic bone in front of your hip bones. A lot of the chairs actually make it impossible for you to do anything other than slouch. If you have a look at a lot of them, the seat actually slopes backwards. So you can't physically untuck your pelvis without using your back and putting your back under a lot of extra strain. So what I recommend is to create a way of bolstering yourself. Now I use a half dome. Half domes are really useful bits of equipment. They're about £6 or £7, so quite useful thing to think about getting for yourself. Or you can use like a rolled up towel or a small blanket, and you're just going to pop it under your bum so that it automatically rolls you into an aligned position, and that happens without you having to kind of be sitting in a position and use your back to push your pelvis in, which is obviously going to really strain your back. What I've done in my car is use some like a massage bolster to make the seat flatter, which allows me to get into a better position. Some people use there's like a sloped wedge that you can pop in your car as well. So it's just kind of a matter of playing and finding a way that you can bolster yourself in your car as well as wherever you sit. Becomes a little bit more difficult in a sofa because they're kind of squidgy and still tipping you backwards. So that's where taking some time to sit on the floor in a way that you can be bolstered is useful, as well as sitting on your sofa. Or you could just get rid of your sofa if you wanted to kind of go to the extremes. The second point, we're sitting in a car. Sometimes you end up with back pain or on chairs, and people tell you to bolster here. And all that does is kind of push you more into an excessive curve in this area, which doesn't help. So instead, I'd always say bolster, putting something behind your upper back, which pushes your back, your whole body forwards and supported without overextending any of your lumbar spine. So that can be really handy. Particularly if you're in a car, you've got to drive for long periods, or you find that you're sitting in an office chair and you're ending up with upper backache as well as low back pain. Just putting a bolster here. Now I've used, you could just use a cushion or like a yoga block or anything that's just going to support you gently in there. So that's a really useful thing. Sitting on the floor, it works really well. I don't know whether I need that anymore. Let me put that there. So sitting on the floor, it's really good for, as I said, getting off the sofa or an armchair. And you can obviously sit on the floor in a variety of ways, and that also means that you're creating more movement, getting your joints in more movement. So as well as easing your back because you're supported, you can also sit cross-legged. You can take a wide stance, legs close together, one leg over the top. You can come into a kind of one-legged squat or a supported squat this way. So there's lots of kind of different ways that you can play with being on the floor, which is also going to help ease your back and get your back stronger. Let me just check my list. Yes. Another thing to think about is the amount of pillows you have when you're in bed. you find that you've got so many pillows that it's kind of pushing your head into an unnatural angle and causing more neck or upper back pain, then as well as the exercises which we'll come to and the releasing and the alignment, you can also start reducing your pillows down. Please don't just take away your pillows completely, because that's going to cause you as much problem and backache as having them. It's just a question of reduce it. As you become stronger and more aligned and more balanced, you can start reducing your pillows to match that alignment. So that's something that's can be really useful to do. So I want to take you on to 2 releasing exercises. A lot of back problem is due to over tension in the psoas muscle, which I think we touched on yesterday. The big muscle that attaches to the bottom of our diaphragm and the last thoracic vertebrae, and then all the way down onto every lumbar vertebrae and every lumbar disc, across over the top of the pelvis and joins onto the femurs. So quite often this is a muscle that also holds emotions. It's one that gets tighter and tighter with anxiety and fear, and can really pull your back and your pelvis and your legs and your body out of alignment. So a really beautiful active release technique is to grab some bolsters and some blankets, and you want to bolster yourself up into the psoas release. So what you need to think about is you want to always keep your thighs on the floor. So you're going to bolster yourself down. I'm going to turn that the other way. So that your shoulders from here upwards are supported. You want to leave your ribs area free to be able to drop down as your psoas feels comfortable to release. And you want to make sure that your head is supported a little bit higher, so that you're not dropping backwards. Your head's not dropping backwards, so you're overextending. You don't want this position, because that's not going to allow the psoas to release. You want a position like this. You've got space under your ribs so that they can drop down and release. And you want to think about staying here, you know, minimum of 5 minutes, up to sort of 15 or 20 minutes. Gives your psoas time to just breathe and open and let go of the emotions. A nice position to get into for a meditation. And you can also use it while if you're reading in bed, to come into this position so that you're releasing the psoas as you're preparing yourself for sleep, or indeed waking up. So that's a nice one to get into. Try and practice that every day, at least once. And the last thing is to release the iliac, which is a muscle which are deep inside the pelvic bowl. They come across here, and also in need of release and opening up. And to do that, you're simply going to come onto your back, feet up near your bottom. Just lift up your bum, and you're just going to put something underneath your pelvis so that your bum's tilting backwards, so that your pubic bone is higher than your hip bone. So you're in a posterior tilt of your pelvis. And then just allow yourself to release here. Now, if you find that you want more release, you can have a higher bolster, or you might find that just something low, it works well for you. And the same with this one as the psoas release. Take some time to release and to relax into that sort of five minutes, maybe a bit longer, and intersperse the psoas with the iliacus release. So yes, bolstering is really useful. Oh yes, one more. If you are doing exercise classes where you're finding, because your femurs are always shorter than your arms, but if you've got a lot of tension in your upper back and you're finding that your shoulders are really a lot higher than your lower back, what you can do is using a blanket under your knees, just to bring yourself up higher, so you can start to release some tension in the upper back. Now you can use a blanket, you can use yoga blocks, whatever is to hand, and it just helps to ease the pressure on your back and to get you into more aligned position while you're doing hands and knees work. Depends what you're doing, of course, but it is quite a comfortable position to be in. So let me just check I've got everything. Yep. Yes. So some bolstering ideas. Again, if you've got any questions or you want me to go through something, then just ask in the comments below. But yeah, really useful things to do to help with relieving back pain in a way that's actually going to help to correct your posture, your alignment as well. Okay.